More often than not, no matter the business size, we're talking Fortune 500 companies, publicly traded companies, down to this small dental office, we're always doing something on their website. And then instead of nesting blogs on forward slash blog title, it's actually SEO, and then the SEO article is nested on top of it because now it's telling Google that this article is already about SEO. I can answer a more specific line item. Otherwise, you're still assuming a little. Even if you had one conversion that day and you know where it came from, like you need to get the granularity when you try to scale.
With me today, I have Anthony Dutcher. He's the founding partner of Vix Media Group, an autonomous, ever-evolving digital growth engine designed to work around the clock for enterprises, startups, local businesses, and entrepreneurs. Anthony, how are you feeling today?
Amazing. Good morning. Pleasure to be here, Zivko.
Fantastic. Now, when we talk about Vix Media Group and when we hear that explanation, what is the typical thing that you follow up with, kind of to go into a little bit more details of what you do?
Yeah. In sales meetings or pitches, it can start really basic. We're here to help you as a business owner make more revenue. And that's really what it all falls back to. How do you grow your business with a marketing team that provides enterprise solutions to the small guys, to the mom and pop shops, to the small, medium businesses. Of course, we do work with businesses of all scale, but there's a missing component in a lot of the market that provides quick, fast-acting enterprise solutions for businesses of all kinds to get their hands on the wheel quickly. Because whether you're in startup phase, mid-curve, can be kind of hard to how am I going to set up my PPC? Oh my gosh, I don't even know what Google Analytics does. Like, what do I tag on my site to make sure a conversion makes sense? So we are full stack. We can offer all kinds of services across the development world, all through paid media management, SEO, social media management. But we've really found our key core competencies in website design, UI, UX architecture, and then just scalable SEO. So these are a few things that we come back to time and time again. But with that, results are often needed quickly. So PPC and advertising also, kind of can lead the conversation.
Now, when we're looking at this whole suite of a solution that we have as a small business or, like you said, middle of the curve or enterprise, what is the usual kind of layout that you suggest for a startup, someone that is middle, and someone that is already like growing more enterprise? And I'm asking that question because someone told me a long time ago, the guy was running a PR agency, and he would say, I would start with PR, then I would do warm outreach, meaning your network, then I would do content creation, because once you kind of get a couple of reps and you find some stuff that work, that is what potentially can create into paid ads. And advertising is usually the last, where I've seen a lot of people start with ads or introduce SEO. Some don't even introduce SEO at all. And that's what I'm
Yeah.
that place. Like, what do you see? Like, this is the layout you should do at this stage of your business.
Yeah, great question. And it is always variable depending on the partner that we saddle up with. However, more often than not, no matter the business size, we're talking Fortune 500 companies, publicly traded companies, down to this small dental office, we're always doing something on their website. It's always something on the development side that like, holy smokes, you have had a website for 2 decades and like you don't have proper heading tags, like minute things that add up when they're compounded in volumes. There's like you can outrank your competitors with like structured schema. Like you have way better domain authority than them. So you're not just doing the technicality. So it always starts with technicality. And with technicality also comes brand. Are you selling yourself in a way that is responding, your customers can respond to with emotion, that they can understand it, but is also rankable for SEO and understood? So it's finding that marriage between brand, technical, and then figuring out what the scale is from there. I'd say more often than not, medium and small business, we're moving them over to our development design process. Like we're redoing everything because maybe they're on Wix, Squarespace, even WordPress, and complex sites that they've had for a while that have done okay. Our design is just truly immaculate in how far it's come, and our standards, our sites really just hit every checkbox that we need to do our job effectively. So that's the conversation is if you want to maximize PPC, you want to maximize SEO, social media traffic, and you're sending them to this version of your website that architecturally isn't the easiest to navigate. You don't have CTAs every step of the way that you need. It's not readily accessible and understood. You're wasting dollars. So our onboarding is more often than not a technical and branding experience. Of course, you get into enterprise, they maybe don't need too much. However, it could still be this technical SEO audit to set up the next pillar of CMS content that they get, hierarchy of content, what their interlinking looks like. So, it really always does start there. And then the next step, the next part of the conversation is, well, how quickly do you need results? Because a lead from SEO, someone is searching for you and your business explicitly. So a much more quality lead, I would always argue, more chance of converting, highly likely to convert from SEO means. But we're talking the long game, a newer mid-curve brand, medium size, hasn't done too much SEO. They're on page 2, 3 for some of these keywords that they want, maybe non-existent. Listen, you have a long road ahead of you. You have, we're talking 8, 9, 12 months of capital investment into SEO. However, it can come to fruition after that time. Of course, you can front run that with more budget early on, but that's the conversation. And listen, we've had lightning fast SEO results before. It doesn't always happen. It's not the guarantee. You're waiting on Google. We do everything best practices, how we should, textbook, and we've seen it. We've not redone a website, done a little bit of press, a little bit of backlinking, structuring, some local SEO, GMB stuff. Boom, 3 months, and things worked. But is it going to scale from there? Who knows? So I can't always guarantee that. So, but SEO is where we want to lead all of our partners. However, it's more often than not that once this site is updated to how we want it, we know it can convert highly. We're running PPC and social media advertising to some degree. PPC is still great because it's person with raw search intent for your specific services. It's a lot of keyword investigation and technical data to understand what negative keywords we have to remove. So it's a strenuous process, even with PPC, to not waste a dollar or too many dollars. You have to, unfortunately, I wouldn't call it waste. It's R&D. You have to experiment to figure out what is going to convert for you. But then social media, it can be a huge hit if they have good organic. When we start to come in, I always say that an in-house social media team works best with an agency strategist and consultant and then advertising agency. But there are great social media agencies. We don't typically do management, replying to the DMs and all that stuff. It really should be an in-house support kind of piece. And we work great as a strategist on top of that. So the thing about social media against search intent based marketing, PPC, SEO, is that you have to convert the user to want to use your brand. You have to tell them that your product exists, sell them on an emotion, retarget them, get them through the funnel. It's a significant process. If you're in e-commerce, of course, someone needs a dog collar that has a tracking chip in it. Sure, maybe it's a little bit easier. But a new product and service that, facials for a med spa, like you gotta prime the 45-year-old mom that drives this XYZ car, find your audience, identify. If you have data, you can expedite the process a little bit faster. So that's the conversation, is like, how quickly do you need results? Are you willing to take the risk to invest in something longer term that we know will come to fruition very strongly? Or do you need it to happen tomorrow? And, most business owners are like, I need it to happen tomorrow because I want to pay for the next leg of things and scale up. But it's not the most holistic path forward always. And we work massive SEO deals on the start because they know my competition's ranking really well for this, and they're always busy and they don't run anything on social media, and I don't even see them ever running PPC. So what does that tell you? SEO is coming up. And clients, we take a risk on each other, but we say we're going to come on board and work tirelessly for you to make this happen for you, because I want you to be a partner forever, and you're taking a risk on us in where to invest your marketing dollars. And that's benefited us well to date, because we have partners that have been with us for 5+ years with millions of dollars in retroactive spend that they've pushed through us because they knew, or they took the risk and it paid off. So that's that's a really long-winded answer to that, but every client doesn't have the same launch package with us by any means, but it always starts technical. it's then decided where do you have to be in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and what risks are you willing to take for long-term potential.
And it's an interesting process that you explained. The first one, I don't hear people talk about that. I haven't heard anybody talk about that for quite some time, which is the web design. It's like this, oh, it's easy now. I can just, ask an AI, it will just create a website for me. And no one talks about the website, the design of the website, the technical part of the website, the tagging, the all these things. Everybody skips that and just goes directly to
Yeah,
strategies. What's the strategy? What is your CRO? What is the SEO
yeah,
strategy you have? But you're saying like it has to start still. It's very important to design things properly. It's still very important in UI UX. Your
yeah,
technical part is the foundation. And once you complete all of that, then we talk about strategies and where we want to go. Now in today's time where there's too many options and people choose
yeah,
all kinds of stuff from
yeah.
Webflow to WordPress to
Hmm.
something that is done in like Lovable, and then you need to hard code everything. Um,
Yes.
what do you see as a good foundation for someone to make their website as maybe phase one, or like, look, if you start with this one, you're good for the next like 5 years.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Definitely too. We do talk about making when you build with us that we will make you something that is truly timeless. And, timeless with a time limit because who knows, or Apple just released liquid glass, which is just an incredible new design style that we'll probably see a lot more in the future. So there's that. Things are always improving. Psychology and what the next generations want to see will probably adapt, but timeless in our sense. To get started, interesting. Never WordPress, never WordPress off rip because you got to work with a cPanel. You could do WordPress.com, but who wants to pay for that? You could find an affordable WordPress dev to get you going, but you're going to be pulling your hair out down the road if you get attacked and there's spam somewhere. Good luck finding it. It's become slightly archaic, but we still build plenty of WordPress sites and we still work with plenty of WordPress sites. Our developers have been working with it since the beginning. So very astute to the platform. Webflow is a maybe even more of a learning curve to understand the CMS and how it's front end builder. If you have no experience, you'll be able to learn Webflow more. If you're coming from WordPress, you're going to be like, why can't I access file management in Webflow versus WordPress? But we red pill agencies all day on coming to Webflow because of just the SEO value that we can provide with it, scalability, user friendly for bloggers, authors, creators, everything few and far between, designers. It's just so flawless for that. However, small business trying to do it on their own, I mean, I hate to say it, it kills me to say it, but like Squarespace, I think Wix is too much what bloat, it's slow, it's never really what you want, but small startup just wants to get something up really affordably for themselves. It's probably in that Squarespace realm because plenty of themes to pick from, easy customization, drag and drop. The SEO is fine. It's still going to be a very bloated platform. However, if you have maybe, four, five, $8,000, find a firm to do it with you and get on Webflow. Like that's that capital investment you should consider making if you can take that risk. Couple $1,000, you could probably find a WordPress dev for a landing page, a couple pages, or even a Squarespace site, someone on Upwork. You might not get the best quality, but you'll get something up. But once you hit that 5K budget of allowance, you can create something much more profound. And like that's kind of where our minimums lie. Though, granted, we've built $30,000 websites plus where they have 12,000 pieces of content. They're huge and crazy CMS management, all kinds of theme pages. So, if you're doing it yourself and bootstrapping, I would stay away from Wix. It's a pain in the butt. I've seen too much bloat. It's too much for what it's trying to be, a quick, easy, small business platform, and that's why I always gravitate towards Squarespace. You can do like easy if you're a service-based business with appointments. You can integrate. I think Squarespace bought Acuity, so it's easy to plug in a little calendar, things like that. E-commerce is kind of a world of its own. I mean, I would always say Shopify. Its price tag is not great and super accessible. But for you add on packages and plugins like rapidly, like you're like, why is Shopify now $800 a month? But it is for that classic e-commerce experience people are used to. It's where to go. I would stay away from BigCommerce. However, you know, there's plenty of other small lightweight packages that people gravitate towards out there. But once you can get that little bit of risk, you can really build something profound with a team, and that's always our recommendation, obviously.
So you're saying if you are really small, you're starting up, Squarespace is like a safe place because we can kind of do something more with it later down the road, and it's not going to be a pain in the butt. Once you get to a medium size, you're looking more towards Webflow, less towards WordPress. If you already have it and you're super comfortable because your team is comfortable, you can do something with it. It's not the end of the world, but if you can choose Webflow. But then once you cross that, once you're starting to produce a lot of content, once you are driving a lot of traffic, so that's more like the large enterprise, it's a custom build because that's the best way to do it. You can't have this like massive website with so much content on a Webflow.
No, you can certainly have lots of pages, and we've done plenty of huge Webflow sites. But yeah, custom is always the goal, right? You know, reducing bloat, your custom JavaScript frameworks are incredible. You know, like Netflix is built on vanilla JS, I think. They may be moving to something else now. Yeah, React frameworks work flawlessly, so speedy, and you know, every dev is going to tell you a little bit something different depending on what they've gravitated towards. However, no, very, very large, very expensive, very businesses with a huge capital investment into PPC and SEO, social media, driving traffic can live and breathe very well on Webflow at scale. But yeah, I mean, everyone's goal, I think, at scale should be some level of custom security, all this stuff. But Webflow is hosted on on a lot of Webflow rep, I swear. You know, it's like Amazon, it's flawless. You don't have to worry about hosting. It's all managed. Once in a while, there's a small kink, but they're quick to remedy.
It's amazing to know. Okay, so we've chosen the platform. We know we will go, if we can afford it, we're going to go with a custom solution. At this point, like you said, you're doing now the second part, which is the technical and branding, which is SEO, and eventually will lead to more of the PPC stuff. Now, when it comes to SEO, I think it's like a bloodbath right now because no one knows what's the right thing to do. They're coming up with all these, like Neil Patel is search everywhere optimization. I'm like, dude, stop with the names. Like, I get it. What you come up with. And then you have like the AI optimization and answer search and like they're just coming up with all kinds of names. So give us some clarity when it comes to SEO right now. Yes, we do have AI. It's been out for quite some time now, a couple of years, and all kinds of things are happening. When you're looking at SEO, you're creating this strategy, you know some of the keywords you want to rank, you see your competitors, you kind of know what your backlinks are, maybe you have a good understanding of the EAT framework. What do you usually advise to people? Like, this is what we're going to do now for the next 9 to 12 months.
Yeah, EEAT is at its core experience, expertise, authoritativeness, trust. And I mean, that is the core principle we fall back to. But, you know, a lot of our very wealthy partners that have great businesses with very much success don't know a thing about SEO, down to the small partner that doesn't know a thing about SEO to one that maybe knows a little bit. And we have to explain in pitches like why to sell them on SEO. So it all comes back to a few core principles beyond EEAT, but it also kind of encapsulates those. Is the user experience and giving the person the information that they need for said search. So identifying what is searched at volume, because you also like, oh, I have this brilliant blog, it's going to do great for SEO, is that no one searches it. So what's the value? So yeah, you have to do a technical keyword audit, technical analysis, SWOT analysis, competitor analysis, see who's ranking where for what. But like, you can use AI a little bit. It's a quiver in our arrow to speed up processes and efficiencies. We're still very much so a handwritten editorial team for all things content, just because AI hallucinates. You can train it up to get well. You can train it on guidelines to spit out some things, but we are still combing over every single word by hand. Excuse me. And like I said, the core principles is the user experience great? Is it giving the user the answer that they want for their query? We give Google a little bit more, maybe expertise, if you will, that algorithms holistic and gonna rank the best content and the most helpful content always. But sometimes you got to get gritty. Sometimes you got to be like, I'm gonna keyword stuff this because it needs that to happen because the competitor did it. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that the better content does not always rank. What is the scale of better? But it usually comes back to when you're writing scale, when you're writing 20 to 30, 50, 100 pieces of editorial pieces of content for your website a month, and you apply these practices, things are going to pay off. You have to build blogs to link appropriately to service pages to build this authority in Google's eyes that you are the expert in that field. So it's not only that the better content should win, but it's that you are the dominant figure for that said source of information. You want to rank for PTSD medication. Good luck outranking the FDA, health news, MedMD, like good luck. So, WebMD. But there are small, long tail variations of that you may be able to target, and you definitely can. So, it's holistic in nature of write really good content that answers your consumers' questions, which leads itself to the whole AI search project anyways, piece of it, of how is AI responding to users in ChatGPT in the same way Google would. Of course, we say GPT, Microsoft partnership, very, very, very intimate. Write your LLM file extensions for your whole website. So like structured data, like a sitemap, you can now submit LLM specific domain extensions. It's easy as a click of a button in Webflow. It's amazing. So that's automatically added. Get yourself on Bing Search Console. Bing's, I forgot the exact name, and Bing Places, just because I can't say with 100% confidence, but relationship between GPT, OpenAI, and Microsoft. Get all your stuff onto the Microsoft tools, because what is it going to probably pull from first? Not Google. So I'll just say that. Obviously, you have to have all your Search Console, all your structured data parsed and rendered correctly. Bard, of course, heavily reliant on structured data and optimized structured data. So question answer, yes, everything should be always question answer. Make sure you have FAQs. Not only are you answering the question of what the person is searching for, but if it's a highly commercial keyword like personal injury attorney Denver, like how do you answer that? It's like, you have to think constructively about what that person may be looking for. But this also comes back to another core principle, which I forget their name. A guy founded this Topical authority class, and it's really quite brilliant on the thesis of like your URL structure has to answer the question as well. So you need to have personalinjuryattorney.com / boom. That next subdomain actually needs to answer the person's question as well. So it needs to be attorney, car accident attorney, and be like, what is they actually looking for? Lawyer. And then Denver is the secondary, piece of it on top of that. So it all trickles up. It's like, exactly how are you passing this data to Google? Because way more searches on Google than Bing. That's why we talk about it. But, Bing's still relevant. And build that topical authority through the whole URL structure, and the content leads itself that way. So you're actually hinting at answers in your structure. And it's really profound. So as high as you want to jump with us, we can, as high as we will, 10,000 feet, 30,000 feet. But that's how I really see it. So, SEO is so much more than just write good content. And GPT stuff can do okay in a less competitive niche. It can do fine for some business owners we consult with, but it really can go micro level. But at a macro level, review your content from GPT, make sure that your structure makes sense. And there's tiny checkboxes that you can get wins with as it pertains to SEO. So a lot you can do there, but you can also just take you take a lightweight approach at first.
And it sounds like there is a good portion of structural things that people need to focus. It's not just about what's the content, but you're saying, look, there's the LLM text file or TXT or whatever it's called. You want to activate that. Like you're talking with your team and you're talking about how do we now show up in ChatGPT answers. Well, structurally, you're not even there. Like you're just writing great content, fantastic. But the structure, and you keep going back to that. You're like, it's there. Just people skip over because maybe it's too complicated, and they just don't want to focus on that. They were looking at what is the keywords and what is the competitor,
exactly,
Ahrefs like analysis, and as opposed to looking at their structure and doing an audit, it will shoot out like you have zero H1 tags on like 50
Exactly.
pages
Yeah,
and
I
stuff
have
like that.
so many sites, man. Massive sites we've worked with don't have an H1. Their product page has, yeah, multiple H1s, no H1, no location and information, and they're a location-based business. Like, so many technicalities to review. And good thing is we have a cheat sheet. We know what is needed in full. Of course, it will grow and adapt. AI LM files weren't a thing a few months ago. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Now they are. So.
and so, but Anthony, it is at 20 pixels. It is H1. It's
Yeah. It's bigger. That's funny.
uh, um,
Elementor has done a lot of our partners dirty with like Bloat, and they just think they can resize stuff, and then it's the H1. So Divi, of course, maybe a little bit cleaner, but so many Elementor sites are just so bloated. If you know how to inspect or view a page source, and you go through a site that was built on Elementor, and you're just scrolling forever, and the code's like everywhere, entangled, squashed together. You look at a Webflow site, and you're going to see like 12 lines of code because it's referenced in libraries. Like so that matters as well. Can Google Google only if you're a smaller site, less domain authority, you're going to get crawled less. And if your site's huge, Google may only crawl like two of your pages. Next week they come back and crawl a little bit more. But if your stuff's clean and concise, and they know the sitemap, they can navigate through it, and you start to build domain authority, they're going to crawl you more, and you're going to rank more quickly. We have clients that post content that gets indexed same day. So, a lot of businesses are like, I posted this blog, it hasn't ranked in a month. Like same day indexing is insane. It used to be. It's become more normal now to best practices.
wow. Now we have a good understanding that the technical part is very important. Part of the technical, and this might be like a myth, and maybe you can give us some clarity. Topical maps. How important is it to build a topical map and to actually stick to it? And as you write stuff, you're like, these are my pillar posts, and this is how I'm connecting these things.
Yeah, topical map, content pillars, huge, core component of the strategy and in our technical onboarding as well. So what are the primary objectives of you to make business from your consumers, B2B or B2C? And then that sets the stage of what is accessible in the header. Of course, we always do mega footers. Just put everything in the footer. Why not? Make it a resource, a library that you can get to everything. Google also likes to see less clicks to your money pages. So your service page, your key product page, one click from the home page is optimal. If it takes you 3-4 clicks to get to like the place you want your consumers or where you want to rank, Google's now jumping between them. So that content pillar is very, very key. And we silo topical map out our URL structure so that it's is location baked into it, is a category baked into it. We also write a lot of our newer website builds for clients have nested articles on top of the service page. So an example here could be, I'll just use marketing services. We haven't applied this to our website yet, but vixmediagroup.com/SEO. And then instead of nesting blogs on /blog title, it's actually SEO, and then the SEO article is nested on top of it, because now it's telling Google that this article is already about SEO. I can answer a more specific line item on the extension, and then I can also do paid advertising in the structure, and then I can answer a question about PPC, so that it just flows through it. So it's not nesting on blog. Blog is a missed opportunity to tell in the structure, a breadcrumb, if you will, that it's relevant to paid advertising. So you can really optimize, and you don't have to write crazy blog titles. You see URLs sometimes, you're like, holy
Yeah.
shit, the whole 150 characters are in the blog title. Like, why is this so long? It can be clear and concise, which Google also appreciates. So the topical map, yes, is key to the whole structure, and it doesn't have to end with service, and then you're writing your services about lawn mowing. It could be lawn mowing and then a question about lawn mowing, and it's just building this steam up to this whole architecture that's just a masterpiece in the end. So we build Mona Lisas.
Okay. When we're looking at another one that is kind of like I would say, I don't know if it's a myth or true, but in terms of topical maps and in terms of SEO, you got a lot of people saying that the the top of the funnel is basically gone because of Google's AI answer. And they're saying like you will see huge differences in what you used to have as the
Yeah.
top of the funnel keywords because they're gone. That doesn't mean that you have something wrong. You need to change your strategy. Is that
Yeah.
something that you see? Is that true?
Yeah, a lot of businesses saw a huge dip. Well, there's two things. There's helpful content update years ago that just nuked a lot of sites, and now they reversed that a little bit. Like, what is helpful content? They couldn't really be determined. So they rolled a lot of that back. And then another crash to a lot of sites for AI. Honestly, all of our businesses have been quite unchanged because our SEO clients push for a lot of like highly commercial keywords that there really isn't an AI snippet yet for them. We do a lot of work in addiction recovery, small medical practices, and if you want facials in Austin, Texas, or tanning salon, Chicago, like it's super relevant to location, maybe nationwide credit card processing, high risk credit card processing. Those commercial keywords we haven't seen a huge influx in. It's when you ask the question that it's usually responding to something for it. So long tail variations, of course, but those big money commercial keywords that we target, we haven't seen a huge dip from them. In Ahrefs, some of our clients are like, "Oh my God, like it went down," and then I look in Search Console and everything's up. I'm like, I don't. The other thing is there's an opportunity for you to get like you have the AI search panel and then there's like the sources on the side. We're seeing a lot of clicks from those as well. So listen, it's Google's moneymaker. They don't want to just deliver content. They want people to also spend PPC money because that's their whole thing. Beyond data, they want to drive PPC sales. So you kind of have to bake in PPC just for real estate on search now. And there's always if you want to wear your space suit, the SEO conundrum that if we're running PPC, Google will index you higher. Who knows? Who knows? It's a capitalism. Maybe, maybe not. We don't have any empirical data to prove that. But yeah, man, it definitely has hurt a lot of editorial websites, of course. But the commercialized ones, to a lesser degree, I've noticed. So all of our clients are still up only, if you will, over time. You just have to pivot. You just have to be able to adapt to it. It's an opportunity. It really is an opportunity. Google rolled out, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, local service ads. So like attorneys, plumbers can get a unique ad unit on search beyond just their GMB listing. So that's an opportunity. But if you're already investing in SEO, you may as well throw a little bit of PPC as well, just to see. Like I said, usually lesser quality leads, but you can still get great ones.
So now that we're getting into that realm, it's a good segue to move into the PPC because we have the technical stuff is properly set up. You've chosen the platform, you're building the website, the technical part is there, the SEO is all good. We know what we're doing, we understand all these things, how they work, and
Yeah.
we have our topical map. Now you're saying it's time to sprinkle in some PPC because we don't know for sure if it helps SEO, but whenever you do it in tandem, you kind of see same client, 3 months comparison, running PPC, I see better results in their organic. What are some of the stuff when it comes to PPC that a small, medium, and a large size business have to understand because they have these things and maybe they're seeing like diminishing returns on results and they're like, I don't know what's
Yeah.
happening at them. I've been doing this for a long time. I was a plumber 50 years ago and I've been running the same ad, like doesn't work anymore. Stuff like that. What do you see that, it didn't work? This is what you need to do now.
Yeah, we had a 4 or 5 month campaign with a 20 year old PPC account, e-commerce business, and things have been down for them for quite some time, competitive nature of the industry. So it's a great case study to kind of explain what was happening for them. They were e-commerce, so of course in their ad campaigns you could see very raw ROAS. And if you have attribution tracking with a Segmetrics or a triple whale, you can uncover a little bit more. Did this person come from Google SEO first, and then they were from an ad later? This granularities down to the keywords and just the attribution. So it's really important eventually to understand not only you got to know the conversion, you got to know what is actually working, and to get to the conversion, back to technical, is your site tagged appropriately? So I set up a campaign. I set up tags for that they clicked to start the form, or they clicked to go to the contact page, they clicked to call, but then did they actually call, so that I can identify the funnel of later what keywords are driving people closer to being a lead or a customer, and then ultimately who is becoming a lead. Because every step of the way, if you're only tracking like one of those things, listen, we take over so many ad campaigns that people are just doing max clicks, PMax. PMax is the enemy, in my opinion. I think there's way more advanced. I think PMax is the um, like not, I don't want to say lazy for people that advocate and find success for it, but you waste a lot of bloat. Why do you need Gmail ads? Where is a Google Sheet ad placement? I don't, these things that are just ridiculous that you should be search or shopping. That's where I love it. Display, it's good for big scale spends. YouTube, of course, beautiful, amazing ads on placements on that. So I like to lock into search, shopping, and YouTube. Really at the core competencies. There's so many little buttons in Google that turn off things that are just waste of money. So the search network, turn that off. Where else? What are the other places that people are Googling? They're Googling on Google. Turn off the search network. Make sure you have your conversion set up. If you're e-commerce, you have to know the dollars in, and it's quite technical sometimes. If you're on a custom build, good luck. Like it's possible, but your GTM Pro, Google Tag Manager Pro, has to be very astute to what they're doing. I've been graced with enough mentorship over the last 5 years to just really become a grunt with GTM. So I can set up a client's full account in a matter of days now and get them going rather quickly if the website's configured correctly. So I'm tracking if someone started typing in the lead form, if they finished it. You can also see, weird data thing, what their email is as they submit it, and you can pass that off. It's called user provided data to Google Ads, so it can optimize its audiences more to say, I'm learning, okay, this keyword was searched for, I'm gonna and this person submitted the lead form, I'm going to target more people because I know I'm Google, I have a huge database of user data, and now I can attribute this person's email, connect them with through hash stuff to making audiences. Google can make audiences on autopilot for you, but you need to set that up. I've never seen a client come to us with that setup, so I set that up. Conversion tracking, we're always fixing that, and then bidding strategies, keywords and bidding strategies. So most people don't even know target impression share exists. A client's like, why are these other people always ahead of us on the ad? And not that the first ad always gets the click. Sometimes the second one does. I mean, more often than not, it can. But you can just target impression share and just say, I don't want to share impressions with anyone. I want to be the top slot always. And for branded search, that's incredible. You can just say, if my competition's beating my ads for my own name, boom, you can target impression share, be number one. So that's a strategy for that. You can also do that with commercial keywords, maximize conversions around a target ROAS. Some people shoot too high. I need a 500% ROAS. And it's like, well, you kind of got to start at like 200, 300 to see if you can do that. And then maybe you scale it up, it goes down. So it's infinite testing in R&D. And that's why we really I don't like even a 90-day campaign. If you're coming to us fresh, if you're coming out to us with a mess as well, you kind of need 6 months of R&D to get you to the goal line of is this a viable means of it? And we have 100% confidence that if you stick with us, we're going to find that solution. But so many little buttons, so many little toggles. We're staying up on news. Google's adding something. The UI changes every year, 2 years. So you just need someone that can really stay on top of it. And as I said before, agency works best with some function of in-house, whether that's just the person at the desk that is an associate, be it assistant, or the business owner. We can only make so many assumptions based on the data that we see, and that we see someone did convert from this keyword. But is that even a profitable keyword for you? Does that service, does that product drive the most profit as compared to this one that's a little bit more expensive of a keyword, but is a better patient in the end, consumer, partner? So infinite factors have go, and that's why we're it's not just turn on the ads as so many people think. It's oh my gosh, this is an exploration of R&D, really.
Now, while we're here, let's what I would say is let's try to save some people some money. So what was it called, SKAGs, single keyword ad group, is that still a good strategy? Because you might pop up and you see
yeah,
is that still something that works?
I'm really glad you asked. The same campaign I was just on had variations of that. I tested against that. So single product ad groups, right? Or single campaign ad groups. Single product ad groups means that you have within one campaign, every product is within its own ad group rather than single product, multiple products within a single ad group. I hate it, but it works sometimes and it should be tested. I don't know why the algorithm does its own thing. I have theories as to why it might work. If you have thousands of products, it can make bidding a nightmare. You can also do, yes, single keyword ad groups as well, and optimize that way. The theory is that you're nesting in a traditional campaign ad group, all your keywords, all your products in that one ad group, that they're bidding against each other. You might not get the best opportunity for the conversion in that moment where you put everything in its individual ad group. It's nested on its own. Analysis kind of looks the same whether you do it at the ad group or keyword level, but it's how they fight each other and can potentially cannibalize. I've seen it work. I've seen it work better. I've tested the alternative of a traditional sane campaign that should be put the keywords in one ad group, and I've had that work better before. I've seen people do individual campaign level, single campaign level keywords for high dollar, high net value. This needs to be its own budget. So it kind of does come back to budget management a little bit, but in terms of management, it's a super pain. It's doable, but it's kind of become, in theory, a thing of the past, but I still see it applied with success.
Got it. And when you're looking at all of this PPC that we're talking, it's all related to Google because we're putting it in tandem with our SEO. Do you see the social media ads kind of ranking them like this is the one you should be, similar to Google has the biggest or widest reach? Do you see like this is very good and specific if you're doing XYZ to run ads on these social media platforms and drive that to, and that's also another myth. Do you drive out from the social media platforms to your landing page, or do you stick within some sort of a landing ad so that you don't take people out of the platforms? Have you seen any data there?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've tested all of that. The first part of the question, social media ads work best when you've solidified a organic base in what your followers and new followers, what you've attracted engagement for organically. It's really hard. You can make a great ad that just does not deliver. You kind of have to go on an organic exploration at first. And we have a content team. We do full video production and editing to make you what you want. However, like I said, and I'm preaching all the time, agency works best with in-house when you have someone that knows some level degree of what consumers are looking for from data back. And listen, it can be so different. It can be the same business across the street from each other, and their ads are the same ad is going to work different. You know what I mean? Like they are going to collect their own data, and things are just going to work. So it is everyone is a one-off. We can apply best practices across them. However, the latter part of the question, yes, keep people in platform, but sometimes the spam trolls, unqualified volume of those leads is like makes finding the needle in the haystack unmanageable. And listen, we've done it. We have a very high net value customer base for a client that's like, we're talking like $30,000 to $50,000 per closing. And through like 8 months, we got 2 in 1 month for them from Instagram, specifically from a DM campaign. And, I think the platforms, I know they don't want you to send the person off the platform. We want to send them to the platform, of course, like that. So we're fighting each other with that. So for our own business, we run TikTok and Facebook ads with the native lead gen form. I like lead gen on Facebook because it auto populates sometimes, most of the time, the person's name, phone number, email. So it's just like kind of like clicking through, like my info is submitted. You can zap that then to a CRM or send it wherever. You can get a text. You can instantly call the person. You could be in the DMs with them. I do really see great success with DM strategy and native lead forms. TikTok as well. TikTok DMs, not so much. Facebook for DMs, IG for DMs. TikTok native lead gen forms are great. E-commerce, sending the person off the site works great. Each platform, most. If you're on Shopify, BigCommerce works as well. You can do shopping natively in their apps. So Facebook shopping, Instagram shopping, TikTok shopping. Yeah, the platforms are going to favor you more in-app experience, but sometimes you need to send the person to the website. It's also like, think of you as a user. I'm on social media. I want to be entertained. Like, I don't actually even really want to leave we're in this doom scrolling moment anyways, and it happens, and it can work with success, but you have to test. It all comes back to testing. That's where your ad group splits can be great. Just run it for a month, see where you go. And that's a big piece of it. Clients are like, I have a $2,000 budget. I'm like, does that include ad management? Like, it's gonna take you 9 months for me to effectively run what you want, because I don't recommend anything under $3,000 to $4,000 a month in social media advertising. And it's going to just take so long because of the data you have to collect. We also start all campaigns usually with some level of like max click or engagement. Like, what is the ad? What is the copy going to get engaged with the most? Because you can pump max click or engagement data through really quickly on a lighter budget. And then that sets the stage for, okay, let's try to get the conversion now. Let's try to get the lead. Let's try to get the buy with the copy that we know can work. Still testing variations of it. Testing variations of video, carousel, static, graphic. Oh my God, infinite. You should, like, if you're going to do this right, you have to come ready with budget. You got to come ready with a lot to test. Otherwise you're just kicking the can down the road, truly. And it stinks for the small guys, but it's a very real conversation. So all that, you got to test it all, try to send them to your website. The unfortunate thing about like Facebook, TikTok traffic is you're going to see like 1,400 visitors came to my site from Facebook, but like their time on page is 1 second. It's appalling. I don't know if it's fat thumbs. I don't know if it's bots, what it is. It's like, it's such a turnoff for a lot of business owners to see. So try to do both.
I would say that I've seen that as well. I've talked with people about this. Well, they come up with all kinds of theories. It's click farms that Facebook is using just because like it's unexplainable. Like I can turn it off, and never in the history of having the website live, I've had such a difference in how many clicks I have and how much views and time on page, and then I run the ads and everything from there. It just doesn't make like a big portion of it. It's an enigma. Like I don't have a right answer. But let's say we stick with our PPC and we have our SEO. The website is properly designed, and you're running this for your business, and you're starting to see a lot of leads coming in, a lot of potential clients coming in. Do you do something for your clients after the fact? Is there any switch to email campaigns that you work on that, or at this point you transfer it and you kind of advise what they should do once they start receiving those leads and prospects?
So optimization thereafter?
Yes.
Yeah, great question. So we're going through this with a few clients right now that have great lead volume, but it's a matter of how do I get the better lead more often? And it really is, this was when it comes back to, attribution, which kind of a unknown topic for a lot of businesses. Is like you turn on the ad, you try to drive revenue, but how do we optimize? We use a platform called Segmetrics. I think its data is just a little bit better than Triple Whale in my experience, much more affordable. We have a great relationship with them directly, really good fluid process. Triple Whale, we're also partners with, and Northbeam. We use them all for the right application. What this allows you to do is someone visits your website from an ad but doesn't submit a form or doesn't buy, but comes back later. It's actually going to fingerprint or track their IP through cookies technology to when they come back later, they're still fingerprinted. If they buy or submit a lead form, then you can actually see what was the original keyword they came to your site from. Creepy level marketing data, totally legal, totally allowed, should be in your terms and services to some degree, not a lawyer. And that's, so paramount to the optimization process. And sure, you have to spend a little bit to obtain some of the SaaS. You have to onboard with it. You have to, use us to onboard with it. There's technical level. But if you're going to spend $10,000 a month on ads, you may as well know what it all means. You have to. It's a no-brainer. So from there, we can see, okay, Anthony from Denver came from this keyword, bought this product. Not a very profitable product. But Zivko from Toronto came from this keyword, bought this product, highly profitable. Okay, does that tell us Toronto's higher net value than Denver? Does that tell you that his keyword should be targeted more than us? And then we can tee them up in experiments against each other and really prove out the technical modeling from there. So it really comes back to optimizing keywords, location, audience, demographic, so many little split level tests that you need to have the data for to be able to test. Otherwise, you're kind of just sitting there that oh, I had 2 conversions on this day from this keyword. it's also important to look at search terms. People just see keyword and assume in a broad match or phrase match capacity that they came from that keyword. More often than not, it's a small variation of that. And our end goal is always to get customers to it's a really lengthy process to go from broad match to a conversion because of the bloat that you get. Amazon is always tagged on Reddit. Like you got to take all this shit away over time because, and it's so like some of our clients have negative keyword lists that are like 15,000 negative keywords because they broad match worked for them and they're targeting that very narrow, like it's broad match but narrow. And then others that can't target broad match because it's unmanageable to manage the negative keywords in the search terms. So they're only on exact match and small phrase match variations. So infinite optimization possibilities, but you need to be prepared not only to understand the data, but to have it. Just running the ads and like seeing your Google Analytics isn't enough. You need to be able to attribute leads and purchases with the exact campaign and the exact strategy that campaign with. Otherwise, you're still assuming a little. Even if you had one conversion that day and you know where it came from, like you need to get the granularity when you try to scale.
When we're at this place now, they're scaling, they're doing all these things, and they're like, man, this guy Anthony knows this shit. How do people get a hold of you to work with you?
Yeah. It's easy through our website, where the website, maybe by the time this is live, is completely upgraded. Text, email, phone number. We're super accessible team. One thing about us is like kind of as I've anecdoted throughout this is that we provide enterprise solutions for businesses of all sizes. But we're also we're not like that enterprise New York City agency. Like we're a team of grunts that work really hard for our clients because we want this to work for them and we want them to be a partner forever. So when we pitch you, we also work with you. We're not like passing you off to ops teams. Like you work directly with us. So enterprise solutions at like a smaller full-on grunts work, though we can get stuff done a lot faster than your traditional corporate framework. So vixmediagroup.com. You can email me directly at anthony@vixmg, M as in Mike, G.com, or find me on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Anthony, thank you so much for the time. There's a lot of information here that is brand new for me that I learned a lot. And especially when it came to the level of optimization you can do in PPC, because people kind of know 2-3 things, search, and that's about it. But the level that you were saying, like the impression share that you can do, all these other things, I think is very, very valuable. And I think you definitely shed a lot of light. So I appreciate the time you took. Thank you for sharing all the information with us, and I wish you all the best.
Rock and roll. Thank you.